They said the smell would be the worst part. They said His Majesty, Emperor Morong Yuan, had been rotting for 20 years, trapped in a body that refused to die. His flesh split open, healed itself, then split again, over and over, until even the most skilled physicians had fainted at his bedside. Servants drew lots before entering his chamber. Guards held their breath near his door. Some said the emperor no longer smelled like a living alpha at all, but like death wearing a dragon rope. So when Lin Chun was brought through the palace gates, he expected horror. He expected decay. He expected a monster. 3 days earlier, Lin Chun had still been in his pack's small archive room, copying old trade records by firelight, while his grandfather slept in the next room. His parents had died when he was young, and his grandfather had raised him with old books, quiet discipline, and one rule: never let anyone make you believe your mind is a burden. Lin Chun had believed that for most of his life. He remembered everything he saw: pages, maps, medical diagrams, treaty clauses, herbal formulas, old laws that even the elders had forgotten. The pack came to him whenever something went wrong: a crop failure, a dispute, a missing contract, a sick child. Lin Chun always found the answer, and Zhao Linyun, the pack's alpha, had learned to use that. At first, Zhao Linyun's attention had felt like love. He praised Lin Chun's mind, brought him gifts, asked for his opinion in council meetings. Then slowly, Lin Chun realized Zhao Linyun did not love him like a person. He valued him like a weapon. That truth became impossible to ignore the night Zhao Linyun came home with hunger in his eyes. The imperial court is offering half the kingdom, Zhao Linyun said, pacing across the room. Land, gold, title, influence, all for one Omega willing to stay beside the dying emperor. Lin Chun closed the book in his hands. No, Lin Chun, Zhao Linyun stopped. You haven't even heard me out. I heard enough. His grandfather coughed weakly from the next room, and Zhao Linyun's gaze flicked toward the door. That single glance made Lin Chun's blood turn cold. You should think carefully, Zhao Linyun said, his voice softer now and far more dangerous. Your grandfather is comfortable here. Warm room, medicine, food, protection. But winter is coming, Lin Chun. The old storage wing is not kind to fragile bones. Lin Chun stood slowly. Do not threaten him. I am giving you a choice. No, you are selling me. Zhao Linyun stepped closer. You are the only person who can survive that place. You always solve things. You always come through. Go to the emperor, stay beside him until he dies. And when the reward comes, our pack will become untouchable. Lin Chun stared at him, and finally saw the truth, sharp and merciless. Zhao Linyun did not want him to comfort a dying man. Zhao Linyun wanted him to wait for profit. And then Zhao Linyun leaned closer and whispered the words that burned themselves into Lin Chun's memory. Do not try to save him. If there is a way to make his end come sooner, find it. The next morning, Zhao Linyun announced before the pack that Lin Chun had volunteered. He spoke of sacrifice, duty, and honor. Then he severed their mate bond in front of everyone, claiming it would help Lin Chun focus on his royal duty. The pain came sharp and clean, like a thread being cut inside his chest. Lin Chun waited for grief. Instead, he felt emptiness, and then something worse, relief. From Jialudin, he left that afternoon without looking back. Now, standing before the doors of Emperor Morong Yuan's private chamber, Lin Chun held a cloth soaked in bitter herbs against his nose. Beside him stood Prince Morong, the emperor's younger brother, the one who had made the desperate offer to every pack in the realm. Morong looked younger than Lin Chun expected, but his face carried the exhaustion of someone who had been afraid for too long. You do not have to go in unprepared, Morong said quietly. The first breath can be difficult. Lin Chun's eyes hardened. I did not come here for comfort. Morong flinched, but he did not argue. He only nodded to the guards. The doors opened. Lin Chin braced himself. But the smell never came. No rot. No death. No choking wave of decay. Only cold air, old stone, and beneath it something strange. A heavy alpha scent, damaged and unstable, but not disgusting. It reminded Lin Shun of winter woods after a storm, sharp and cold, buried beneath pain. The room was dim, curtains drawn against the afternoon light. At the center of it, propped against pillows on a massive bed, lay Moron Ivan. The rumors had not lied about his sickness. His arms were swollen beneath torn bandages. Thin cracks opened along his skin, releasing clear fluid before sealing again with visible pain. His body looked trapped in a war against itself. But his face was not monstrous. His eyes were awake, dark, and fiercely intelligent. His jaw was clenched, as if pain had become something he refused to acknowledge. Even bedridden, even ruined by sickness, Moron Yuan still felt like an emperor. His gaze locked onto Lin Chin. "Who are you?" The voice was rough, low, and heavy with command. Lin Chin lowered the cloth from his face. "The Omega your court bought." Moron Zay's face went pale. Moron Yuan's eyes narrowed. "Bought." Lin Chin's bitterness rose before he could stop it. "The one brought here because apparently a dying emperor needs someone pretty beside his bed while the kingdom waits for him to rot." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Moron Yuan looked at his brother. "You offered payment for this." Moron Zay's hands tightened at his sides. "Yuan, I can explain." "You offered half my kingdom," Moron Yuan said, dangerously quiet. "To drag an unwilling Omega to my deathbed. I thought you were dying. I have been dying for 20 years. Moron Zay's voice broke. "When we were children, you said if you ever died, you wanted to look at something beautiful." Moron Yuan closed his eyes, and the anger left his face in a way that made him look unbearably tired. "I was 12, he said. Lin Chin watched them, and something inside him shifted. He had expected selfishness, cruelty, a royal family willing to purchase an Omega-like decoration. Instead, he saw a desperate brother and a dying emperor ashamed of being loved too much. Moron Yuan opened his eyes again and looked at Lin Chin. "You will be sent home. Whatever was promised to you will be compensated. I will not have someone forced to watch me suffer." Lin Chin should have accepted. He should have turned around, gone back to his grandfather, and let Jiao Lingyun's greed collapse on itself. But then Moron Yuan's body convulsed. A crack tore open across his forearm, deeper than the others. His pheromones exploded through the room, violent and suffocating. The guards outside shouted. Moron Zay staggered back, one hand over his mouth. Moron Yuan gripped the sheets, eyes flashing with a feral alpha instinct that looked seconds away from breaking free. Lin Chin moved before thinking. He crossed the room and caught Moron Yuan's wrist. The effect was immediate. The raging pheromones faltered. Moron Yuan froze. The clear fluid slowed. His breathing steadied. His fingers, which had been twisted in the sheets, loosened one by one. Moron Zay stared at Lin Chin as if he had just witnessed the impossible. Moron Yuan looked down at Lin Chin's hand on his wrist, then back into his eyes. For the first time, the Alpha Emperor did not look like a man waiting for death. He looked afraid to hope. Lin Chin felt the cold scent of him wrap around his lungs, broken and searching. And in that moment, he understood one thing with terrifying clarity. Jiao Lingyun had sent him here to watch the Emperor die. But Lin Chin might be the only one who could keep him alive. The moment Lin Chin let go of Moron Yuan's wrist, the entire chamber remained frozen in stunned silence. Even the gods outside the door had stopped moving. Moron Zay looked between the two of them, as if he could not decide whether he had just witnessed a miracle or the beginning of another disaster. For 20 years, no one had been able to calm the Alpha Emperor once his pheromones spiraled out of control. Physicians had tried suppressants, magical restraints, sedatives strong enough to knock out grown alphas, yet nothing truly worked. But Lin Xin had touched him for less than 10 seconds, and Morong Yuan's body had obeyed. Morong Yuan slowly pulled his arm back, though his gaze never left Lin Chun's face. The cracks along his skin had stopped spreading, for now, but the damage remained visible beneath the dim candlelight. He looked exhausted, not only physically, but in the way a person looked after surviving too many years they no longer wished to count. "You should leave," Morong Yuan said quietly, "before this place traps you too." Lin Xin expected command in his voice, pride, distance. Instead, what he heard sounded dangerously close to concern. "I said I would stay," Lin Xin replied. "You do not understand what staying means." "I understand enough." Morong Yuan gave a humorless smile. "No, you understand rumors. That is different." Morong Zhe finally stepped forward, relief still visible in his expression despite the tension hanging in the room. "Perhaps we should continue this discussion after His Majesty rests." "I am not dying tonight," Morong Yuan muttered. "That is not the standard anymore," Morong Zhe answered dryly. "Tonight, the standard is whether you destroy another set of sheets." For the first time, Lin Xin saw something soften between the brothers. It was brief, almost hidden beneath years of exhaustion, but real. Morong Yuan rolled his eyes, faintly, while Morong Zhe moved to replace the blood-stained cloth near the Emperor's arm with the ease of long practice. There was no fear in him, only familiarity. That alone told Lin Xin more about Morong Zhe than any royal title could. The following days settled into an uneasy rhythm. Lin Xin expected to feel trapped inside the palace, but instead he found himself observing everything with growing curiosity. Morong Yuan's condition followed no logical pattern. Some mornings, the emperor could sit upright and speak normally for hours. Other days, his body cracked open and so violently that even breathing became difficult. Yet through all of it, one thing remained. Morong Yuan only stabilized when Lin Xin stayed nearby. At first, everyone pretended not to notice. The servants avoided speaking about it directly. The royal healer, an older beta named Ceradon, merely frowned harder every time Lin Xin entered the room. During one of Morong Yuan's episodes, Morong Zhe tried not to look hopeful whenever the emperor relaxed under Lin Xin's scent, but hope clung to him anyway, bright and painful. Lin Xin himself did not understand it either. He had always known his pheromones were unusual. Even as a child, frightened animals calmed around him faster than normal. Angry alphas lowered their voices when he spoke. His grandfather once called his scent quieting, though neither of them knew why. But this was different. Morong Yuan did not simply calm down near him. His entire body reacted, and that terrified Lin Xin more than he cared to admit. One evening, Lin Xin sat near the emperor's bed, reading through medical records stacked across his lap while rain battered the palace windows. Morong Yuan appeared half asleep, though Lin Xin had begun noticing that the emperor rarely truly rested. Even unconscious, his muscles remained tense, as if his body expected pain every second. "You turn pages too loudly," Morong Yuan suddenly murmured. Lin Xin looked up. "You were awake." "I was trying not to be." "That sounds exhausting." Morong Yuan opened one eye. "Existing has been exhausting for a very long time." Lin Xin should not have smiled at that. But he did. And something strange happened. Morong Yuan stared at him for several seconds too long, like the sight itself had surprised him. "You smile more when you forget to be angry," Morong Yuan said quietly. The words hit harder than they should have, because Lin Xin realized with sudden, uncomfortable clarity that he had almost stopped being angry around him. Not around Zhao Lingyun, never around Zhao Lingyun. Around Morong Yuan. Lin Xin looked back down at his book before the silence became dangerous. "Your condition doesn't match any normal decay disease. Ceradon says it is a cursed mutation in the royal bloodline." And do you believe him? Moron Yuan was quiet for a moment. After 20 years, I stopped caring what name people gave it. That answer stayed with Lin Chen long after the conversation ended. The deeper he looked into Morong Yuan's illness, the less sense it made. Rotting flesh should smell. Infections should spread. Tissue damage should worsen over time. But Morong Yuan's body continuously regenerated itself, only for the process to collapse and begin again. It looked like decay, but it behaved like something else entirely. And once Lin Chen noticed that inconsistency, he could not stop seeing it. He spent hours in the royal archives, devouring medical texts while servants whispered behind his back about the Omega who dared touch the dying emperor. He memorized diagrams, old healing theories, bloodline records, and accounts from healers who had failed before him. Most of them described the sickness as unstoppable corruption. None described true decomposition. One afternoon, Lin Chen returned to Morong Yuan's chamber after nearly 12 hours without rest and found the emperor sitting near the window, for the first time since his arrival. Weak sunlight spilled across his face, sharpening the harsh lines exhaustion had carved into him over the years. "You left," Morong Yuan said without looking away from the window. Lin Chen blinked. "I went to the archives." "You were gone 6 hours." The answer came too quickly, too automatically. Something warm and strange flickered low in Lin Chen's chest before he forced it down. "I did not realize the emperor kept track of my schedule. I keep track of anything that stops the pain." The honesty of it stole the air from the room. Morong Yuan finally looked at him then, dark eyes steady and unbearably tired. "When you are near, my body quiets down," he said. "I do not know why, but the moment you leave, it starts again." Lin Chen swallowed hard. "That sounds inconvenient." Morong Yuan laughed softly for the first time, low and rough, enough that it almost sounded unfamiliar in his own throat. "You are very strange, Lin Chen. So I have been told." That night, the storm worsened. Wind rattled the palace windows while servants hurried through corridors carrying fresh blankets and lanterns. Lin Chen remained in the archives far later than intended, surrounded by open books and scattered notes. The more he researched, the less he slept. He barely noticed the exhaustion building until his vision blurred while reading the same sentence for the third time. Then everything tilted. The next thing Lin Chen felt was warmth, strong arms lifting him carefully, a heavy scent wrapping around him like dark winter air and cedarwood. His instincts reacted immediately, omega pheromones fluttering weakly against the alpha presence surrounding him. "You worked until you collapsed," Morong Yuan's voice said above him. Lin Chen forced his eyes open slightly. "You should not be walking around. And you should not be unconscious on library floors." Lin Chen realized with horror that Morong Yuan himself was carrying him through the corridor, despite the visible strain in his movements. "You're shaking," Lin Chen whispered. Morong Yuan's grip tightened almost imperceptibly, "and you were burning with stress fever." By the time Morong Yuan laid him onto the bed inside his own chamber, Lin Chen's head felt unbearably heavy. His body ached from overworked pheromones and lack of sleep. He tried sitting up immediately, but Morong Yuan pushed him gently back against the mattress. "That was not a request." Lin Chen stared at him. Morong Yuan stood beside the bed in loose dark clothing, silver cracks still faintly visible beneath the bandages around his arms. Sick, exhausted, barely holding himself together, and still more worried about Lin Chen than himself. No one had ever looked at him like that before. Not even once. The realization hit so suddenly that it almost hurt. Morong Yuan reached toward him slowly, as if giving Lin Chen time to pull away. Then he rested one hand lightly against the back of Lin Chen's neck, where omega pheromones ran hottest. The effect was immediate. Lin Chen's racing pulse eased. The burning ache behind his eyes softened. Morong Yuan's scent settled around him. Not overwhelming, not possessive, just steady. Safe. Moron Yuan closed his eyes briefly, his own breathing finally evening out too. And neither of them seemed to realize how dangerous that felt until Moronze quietly opened the chamber door and stopped dead at the sight before him. Because for the first time in years, the Alpha Emperor was calm, and he was touching an Omega like something precious instead of something fragile. By the second week, the palace had stopped looking at Lin Shan like a temporary guest and started treating him like part of Morong Yuang's survival. Servants bowed lower around him. Guards opened doors before he reached them. Even the physicians who had once dismissed him now watched him with cautious unease, because none of them could deny what was happening anymore. Moron Yuan's episodes were shorter when Lin Qin stayed nearby. His pheromones stabilized faster. He slept longer. Some mornings, he even managed to leave his bed for several minutes without collapsing. And that frightened Lin Qin more than if nothing had changed at all. Because the closer he became to Moron Yuan, the harder it grew to remember why he had come here. One evening, Lin Qin sat cross-legged on the floor beside the emperor's bed, several ancient medical texts spread around him, while rain tapped softly against the windows. Morong Yuan rested against the pillows behind him, eyes half closed as Lin Qin muttered under his breath while flipping pages. "You talk to books more than people," Morong Yuan murmured. "Books usually contain fewer bad decisions." "That feels directed at me." Lin Qin glanced back briefly. "If the crown fits." Moron Yuan actually smiled this time, small but genuine. And the sight still startled Lin Qin every time it happened. It changed Moron Yuan's entire face. Beneath the sickness and exhaustion, there was still a man capable of warmth, a man who should have had a life beyond endless pain. That thought lingered uncomfortably inside Lin Qin's chest. "You should rest," Moron Yuan said after a while. "I will after I finish this section." "You said that 3 hours ago." Lin Qin ignored him and reached for another book, but his hand trembled slightly from exhaustion. He had barely slept the past few days. Every time he closed his eyes, theories and fragments of medical records kept turning inside his head. None of the healers had approached Moron Yuan's illness correctly. They all treated it as corruption, rot, decay. But nothing about the emperor's body behaved like actual decomposition. His flesh regenerated too quickly, too perfectly, as if something inside him kept trying to heal and failing at the final step. "You are doing it again," Morong Yuan said quietly. Lin Qin frowned down at the text. "Doing what?" "Thinking so hard you forget your body exists." Before Lin Qin could answer, a sharp pulse of dizziness hit him. His vision blurred for half a second. Moron Yuan noticed immediately. "Enough," the emperor said firmly. "I'm fine. You nearly collapsed yesterday, and you nearly died last night. We all have hobbies." Morong Yuan stared at him for a long moment before exhaling through his nose, something dangerously close to amusement softening his expression. "You are impossible." "So I've heard." But the truth was, Lin Qin was exhausted, not only physically, but emotionally too. Because somewhere between late nights in the archives and quiet conversations beside candlelight, Moron Yuan had stopped feeling like an emperor and started feeling painfully human. Lin Qin had not prepared for that. He had prepared for cruelty, for arrogance, for resentment. Not for a dying alpha who thanked servants by name and apologized every time his condition caused trouble. Not for someone who looked at Lin Qin as though his presence alone mattered. That was the dangerous part. The following night, everything finally broke. Lin Qin had been in the archives since morning, surrounded by stacks of old royal medical journals. Most contained useless repetitions of failed treatments. But one text mentioned an unstable regenerative condition tied to alpha bloodlines generations ago. Lin Qin became so focused reading it that he failed to notice the shift happening inside his own body until it was far too late. Heat. The realization slammed into him all at once. His suppressant had stopped working. Lin Shen's breathing turned uneven as pheromones burst sharply beneath his skin. Heat during stress was not uncommon for omegas. But this was bad. Too sudden. Too intense. And worst of all, Moron Yuan would smell it. Lin Shen pushed himself up too quickly, knocking books to the floor as panic climbed his throat. He needed isolation immediately, before the scent spread through the palace. But the moment he stepped into the corridor, a violent wave of alpha pheromones crashed into him from the other end. Moron Yuan. The emperor's condition was spiraling again. Lin Xuan grabbed the wall hard enough to hurt. His own heat reacted instantly to Moron Yuan's unstable scent, his body betraying him in the worst possible moment. Somewhere ahead, servants shouted in panic while guards struggled to approach the emperor's chamber. "No one can get close," someone yelled. Lin Shen forced himself forward anyway. By the time he reached the room, the doors were already splintered from the pressure of Moron Yuan's pheromones. Inside, the Alpha Emperor stood near the bed, breathing heavily, cracks spreading violently across his arms and throat, while furniture around him lay overturned. His eyes snapped toward Lin Shen immediately, and everything became worse. Lin Shen saw the exact second Moron Yuan smelled his heat. The Emperor froze completely. The room fell into a suffocating silence, broken only by uneven breathing. "Leave," Moron Yuan said hoarsely. Lin Shen could barely think through the instincts crashing inside him. "You're unstable. And you're in heat." Another crack split across Moron Yuan's neck. He clenched his jaw hard enough for muscle to jump beneath his skin, forcing himself backward instead of toward Lin Shen. That terrified Lin Shen more than if he had lost control immediately. Moron Yuan was fighting himself. "For God's sake, Lin Shen," Moron Yuan rasped, voice rough with restraint. "Run before my instincts stop caring." But Lin Shen did not move. Because beneath the overwhelming alpha pheromones and his own spiraling heat, he saw something unbearable in Moron Yuan's expression. Fear. Not fear for himself. Fear of hurting Lin Shen. That single realization shattered something inside him. Lin Shen crossed the room slowly, despite every instinct screaming at him to submit or flee. Moron Yuan looked almost feral now, fingers digging into the edge of the table hard enough to crack wood apart. "Do not come closer," Moron Yuan warned. Lin Shen ignored him and reached for his wrist. The effect hit instantly. Moron Yuan's pheromones faltered violently before collapsing inward around Lin Shen instead of attacking him. A low sound escaped the Emperor's throat, something between relief and agony. And suddenly Moron Yuan grabbed Lin Shen, hard enough to drag him against his chest. But he did not bite, did not pin him down, did not force anything. He only buried his face against Lin Shen's neck and breathed shakily, like a drowning man finally reaching air. Lin Shen's entire body trembled beneath the intensity of it. The heat still burned through him, but Moron Yuan's scent no longer felt violent. It felt desperate, aching, lonely. "Tell me to stop," Moron Yuan whispered against his skin. "Please." Lin Shen closed his eyes. "You already are." For several long seconds, neither of them moved. Then Moron Yuan's control finally slipped, just enough for instinct to win. His teeth grazed lightly against the side of Lin Shen's neck, barely above the scent gland. Not a mating bite, not even close, just one instinctive mark. But Lin Shen still gasped softly, as something electric rushed through both of them at once. And somewhere deep inside his collapsing thoughts, Lin Shen realized with terrifying certainty that this was no longer about saving an emperor. The morning after the heat incident, neither Lin Shen nor Moron Yuan spoke about what had happened in the chamber. No one else mentioned it either, though the entire palace clearly knew something had changed. Servants lowered their eyes too quickly whenever Lin Shen walked past. Guards suddenly became very interested in the walls whenever Moron Yuan's gaze followed the Omega for too long. Even Moronzi looked caught between relief and nervous anticipation every time the two of them occupied the same room. Only Moron Yuan acted as though nothing unusual had happened, which somehow made everything worse. Because now Linshin noticed every small thing. The way Morong Yuan's eyes instinctively searched for him after waking. The way his pheromones settled the moment Linshin entered a room. The way the Emperor unconsciously leaned toward him during moments of pain, like his body already recognized comfort before his mind allowed it. And Linshin himself was not much better. The faint imprint left behind by Morong Yuan's instinctive bite still reacted whenever the Emperor came too close. It was not a mating mark, barely even a proper claim. Yet Linshin could still feel it beneath his skin like a quiet pulse. Dangerous. Intimate. Wanted. That last realization unsettled him most of all. 3 days later, Linshin finally found the answer. He had spent nearly the entire night buried in old medical archives while rain hammered the palace roof above him. Books and loose papers covered every inch of the table around him. Most people would have given up hours ago, but Linshin's mind refused to stop turning. Regeneration, not decay. That was the mistake every healer before him had made. Moron Yuan's body was not dying. It was trying to heal itself endlessly and failing at the final stage. The clear fluid leaking from his wounds was not waste. It was unfinished regenerative material, searching for stabilization. And suddenly, everything connected. Linshin shot to his feet, so quickly his chair crashed backward onto the floor. A mineral catalyst, that was what the process lacked. He could see the memory perfectly in his mind, a passage from an old geological text he had read years ago beside his grandfather's fireplace. Rare volcanic compounds from the eastern mountains, capable of stabilizing unstable regenerative reactions. Linshin's breathing turned sharp. He knew how to save Moron Yuan. He found Morongzi first. The prince had been half asleep over royal documents when Linshin burst into his study without knocking. "I found it," Linshin said immediately. Morongzi blinked in confusion. "Found what?" "The cure." Silence. Morongzi stared at him as though afraid to react too quickly and destroy the possibility before it became real. "You're certain?" he asked finally, voice rough. "No," Linshin admitted honestly. "But I'm closer than anyone has ever been." For several seconds, Morongzi said nothing at all. Then suddenly he crossed the room and pulled Linshin into a fierce embrace. "Thank you," he whispered shakily. "Even if it fails, thank you for trying." The sincerity in his voice hurt unexpectedly. Zhao Linyun used to thank Linshin too, but it had never sounded like this. Never like gratitude for Linshin himself. Only for what he could provide. Morongzi let go quickly, wiping one hand across his eyes before stepping back. "Tell me what you need." The mineral arrived 5 days later, after riders nearly killed their horses retrieving it from the eastern mountains. By then, even Saradon had stopped openly doubting Linshin. The older healer still frowned constantly, but now he watched Linshin with reluctant respect instead of dismissal. Preparation took another 2 days. Linshin worked carefully inside Moron Yuan's chamber, while the Emperor watched from the bed in exhausted silence. He ground the volcanic mineral into a fine powder before mixing it with collected regeneration fluid over low heat, until the substance thickened into a pale silver paste. "You have not slept properly in days," Moron Yuan said quietly. "I can sleep after this works. And if it does not?" Linshin's hands paused briefly above the mixture. He had avoided thinking about that possibility, because if he failed now, after giving Moron Yuan hope, after letting Moronzi believe his brother might truly survive, the collapse would destroy all of them. "I don't intend to fail," Linshin said finally. Moron Yuan studied him for several long seconds. "That was not an answer. If this fails, your regeneration sable could become unstable enough to kill you." Moronzi visibly stiffened near the doorway, but Moron Yuan only nodded once. As expected, Lin Shen frowned. You say that very calmly. For 20 years, every treatment has carried the possibility of death. Moron Yuan's gaze softened slightly as it settled on him. This is merely the first time I find myself hoping the risk is worth it. That nearly broke Lin Chun's composure. The treatment began that night. Moron Yuan sat upright against the pillows while Lin Shen carefully spread the silver paste across one of the fresh cracks along his forearm. Moron Zhe stood nearby, tense enough to snap in half, while Ceradon observed from the corner with folded arms. At first, nothing happened. Then Moron Yuan suddenly inhaled sharply. The crack widened violently, the fluid pouring out faster than before, spilling down his arm as the skin split deeper. Morongze took a step forward immediately. Lin Shen. Wait, Lin Shen said, though his own pulse hammered painfully. Moron Yuan's jaw tightened hard enough to shake. Then, finally, the wound changed. Instead of continuing to split apart, the edges slowly pulled together. Smoothly this time. Naturally. The swelling around the injury began to fade as the skin sealed itself without reopening again. Silence swallowed the room. Moron Yuan stared down at his own arm. Ceradon moved first, crossing the room quickly before grabbing the Emperor's wrist with trembling hands. He pressed carefully against the healed skin, disbelief spreading openly across his face. No inflammation, he whispered. No instability. Moronze looked like he had forgotten how to breathe. And Moron Yuan was staring only at Lin Shen. Not at his healed arm, not at the cure. At Lin Shen, as if he could not understand how someone had walked into his life carrying books and bitterness, and somehow given him back a future. The treatment continued over the following days. Some applications worked immediately. Others triggered terrifying reactions first. Twice, Moron Yuan nearly collapsed from the strain. Once, his regeneration spiraled so violently that Lin Shen genuinely thought he would die before morning. But every setback ended the same way. Improvement. Slowly, the cracks stopped reopening. The swelling faded. The endless scent of damaged pheromones surrounding Moron Yuan weakened day by day, until for the first time in years, the air around him no longer smelled like pain. Then came the morning Moron Yuan finally walked outside. The palace gardens stood silent beneath pale sunlight, while servants watched nervously from distant corridors. Lin Shen stayed close beside him as Moron Yuan stepped onto the stone pathway, with visible caution, like someone entering another world. For several seconds, Moron Yuan simply stood there. Wind moved softly through the trees. Sunlight touched his face. Real sunlight, not filtered through curtains or shadows. Moron Yuan closed his eyes, and Lin Shen suddenly had to look away, because the expression on the Emperor's face felt too raw to witness directly. Not relief, not happiness, grief. The grief of someone realizing how much life had been stolen from him. You were right, Moron Yuan said quietly after a long silence. Lin Shen looked back at him. About what? Moron Yuan opened his eyes slowly. They were clearer now, healthier, alive in a way Lin Shen had never seen before. This was never death. His gaze settled on Lin Shen with unbearable softness. And now I find myself terrified of losing the life you returned to me. Lin Shen's heart stumbled painfully. Then Moron Yuan stepped closer, slowly enough to let Lin Shen pull away if he wished. But Lin Shen did not move. Moron Yuan rested his forehead lightly against Lin Shen's and whispered, almost like a confession meant only for the two of them. I thought I would die before learning what it meant to love someone. And then he kissed him, softly, carefully, like something precious he still could not fully believe belonged within reach. Lin Shen's fingers tightened weakly against Moron Yuan's sleeve as warmth spread through his chest, so suddenly, it almost hurt. For the first time in years, nothing inside him felt cold. And somewhere behind them, hidden beyond the garden entrance, another pair of eyes watched the scene with growing fury. Jiao Linyun had arrived at the palace. Jiao Linyun arrived like a man returning to claim stolen property. By the next morning, the entire royal court knew an alpha from the northern pack had demanded a private audience with the emperor. Rumors spread quickly through the halls, especially after servants recognized the name attached to Lin Chen's former mate Bond. Some whispered that Jiao Linyun had come to apologize. Others assumed he had arrived hoping to gain favor now that Murong Yuan had recovered. Lin Chen knew better the moment he saw him again. Jiao Linyun stood in the center of the audience chamber, wearing expensive dark robes lined with silver thread, every inch the image of a powerful alpha leader. But Lin Chen no longer saw charisma when he looked at him. He only saw calculation and anger. Jiao Linyun's gaze found Lin Chen, and immediately the second he entered beside Murong Yuan. For one brief moment, shock crossed Jiao Linyun's face. Not because Lin Chen was alive, but because Lin Chen looked happy. Healthier, too. The palace had changed him. The constant tension that once lived in his shoulders had loosened. His pheromones no longer curled inward defensively. Even the faint, unfinished imprint at the side of his neck remained visible beneath his collar. Zhao Lingyin noticed it instantly. The alpha's expression darkened. Murong Yuan, seated upon the throne above the hall, noticed that too. The atmosphere shifted sharply. Morongzi stood at his brother's side, watching the exchange with growing concern, while nobles along the edges of the chamber lowered their voices uneasily. Everyone could feel the pressure building beneath the silence. Zhao Lingyun bowed stiffly toward the throne before speaking. "Your Majesty, I came to retrieve my Omega." Every sound in the hall disappeared. Lin Xin felt something cold settle in his chest. Not pain, not heartbreak, just clarity. Murong Yuan's expression did not visibly change, but the air around him grew heavier by the second. "Your Omega?" he repeated calmly. Zhao Lingyu nodded once. "Lin Xin belonged to my pack long before he arrived here. I released the mate bond temporarily to allow him to fulfill his duty to the crown. But now that the emperor has recovered, there is no longer any reason for him to remain." Lin Xin almost laughed. Temporarily. As if Zhao Lingyun had not severed the bond in front of the entire pack, like disposing of a useful tool. As if he had not threatened an old man's safety to force obedience. Murong Yuan leaned back slightly against the throne, dark eyes fixed entirely on Zhao Lingyun now. "Interesting," he said softly. "Because Lin Xin informed me the bond was severed permanently." Zhao Lingyun's jaw tightened. Lin Xin was emotional at the time. That sentence did it. Something inside Lin Xin finally snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, just completely. For years, he had swallowed every insult, every manipulation, every moment of being treated as useful instead of loved. He had convinced himself that enduring quietly was strength, that being needed was enough. But standing inside the royal court beside people who had thanked him, protected him, trusted him without trying to own him, Lin Xin suddenly realized how small Yao Lingyan had forced his world to become. "I was not emotional," Lin Xin said evenly. Every eye in the hall shifted toward him. Zhao Lingyan's expression hardened immediately. "Lin Chen, you do not get to speak to me like that anymore." The silence became suffocating. Zhao Lingyun stared at him in disbelief, likely because Lin Chen had never openly challenged him before. Even after the mate bond broke, Zhao Lingyun probably still believed Lin Xin would eventually return, because in Zhao Lingyun's mind, Lin Xin existed to orbit around him. "You were sent here for our future," Zhao Lingyun said, voice tightening. "Everything I did was for the pack." Lin Xin laughed softly, and the sound held no warmth at all. "No, everything you did was for yourself." Zhao Lingyun took a step forward. "You do not understand the pressure of leadership, and you do not understand love." That landed harder than shouting ever could. Zhao Linyun's expression cracked for the first time. Ling Shan continued before he could interrupt. You threatened my grandfather to force me here. You severed our mate bond in front of the pack to protect your image. Then you told me not to save Moron Yuan because his death would profit you more than his life. Shock rippled through the nobles surrounding the hall. Morongzi visibly stiffened beside the throne, while whispers immediately broke out among the council members. Zhao Lingyun's voice dropped dangerously low. Be careful what accusations you throw around in a royal court. Lin Shan met his gaze without flinching. They are not accusations. They are facts. Zhao Lingyun's alpha pheromones surged sharply across the room in irritation, instinctively trying to pressure submission from him the way they always had before. But this time, another scent crashed against them. Moron Yuan's. The difference was overwhelming. Zhao Lingyun's pheromones felt controlling, heavy, demanding. Moron Yuan's felt furious. The temperature in the hall seemed to drop several degrees as the emperor slowly rose from the throne. The movement alone silenced everyone again. Moron Yuan descended the steps one at a time, each measured footstep carrying enough pressure to force several weaker alphas in the room to lower their eyes instinctively. Zhao Lingyun held his ground, but barely. You threatened him, Moron Yuan said quietly. Zhao Lingyun lifted his chin. He is my former Omega. No, Moron Yuan stopped directly between them. He was someone who trusted you. The sheer coldness in his voice sent visible tension through the chamber. Zhao Lingyun's control finally slipped. And what exactly is he to you? He snapped. A convenient Omega who cured your illness? Someone new to obsess over now that you can stand again. Lin Shan saw the exact moment Moron Yuan's restraint shattered. Pheromones exploded through the hall so violently that several courtiers stumbled backward. Crystal glasses cracked. One noble alpha and nearly dropped to his knees under the pressure alone. Moron Yuan stepped fully in front of Lin Shan. Protective, absolute. You dare, Moron Yuan said softly, to speak about him like he is property while standing in my court. Zhao Lingyun instinctively took half a step back. For the first time since arriving, fear appeared in his eyes. But Moron Yuan was not finished. To the horror of the entire court, the emperor suddenly lowered himself onto one knee before Lin Shan. The room went completely silent. Lin Shan stared at him in shock. Moron Yuan looked up at him with none of the pride or distance expected from an emperor, only raw honesty. Please, Moron Yuan said, quietly enough that the silence carried every word across the hall. Do not return to a place where you were never truly loved. Lin Shan's chest tightened so painfully he almost could not breathe, because Zhao Lingyun had spent years demanding loyalty from him, and Moron Yuan, even now, was still asking, giving him a choice. The difference between those two things suddenly felt like the difference between a cage and freedom. Zhao Lingyun looked furious now, but beneath the anger was panic. Real panic. You would choose him over your own pack, he demanded. Lin Shan finally understood something then. Zhao Lingyun truly believed he had done nothing unforgivable. In his mind, using Lin Shan's brilliance for the pack's gain had been reasonable, necessary even. Love and ownership had become the same thing to him long ago. But Lin Shan was so tired of being useful before being human. You never once looked at me and asked what I wanted, Lin Shan said quietly. You only looked at what I could do for you. Zhao Lingyun opened his mouth, but no words came, because there was nothing left to deny. The royal council began murmuring sharply among themselves, while several nobles openly looked disgusted. Threatening an Omega into royal service was already dangerous. Ordering the possible murder of an emperor bordered on treason. Zhao Lingyun finally realized the situation collapsing around him. His gaze snapped toward Lin Shan one last time. You think they care about you here? The second you stop being useful, that is enough. Moron Yuan's voice cracked through the chamber like steel. The emperor rose slowly to his feet before turning slightly toward Lin Shan without taking his eyes off Zhao Linyan. From this moment onward, Moron Yuan said coldly, "Anyone who wishes to touch Lin Shun will answer to me first." The possessiveness in those words sent a visible tremor through the room, not ownership, but protection, and somehow that made it infinitely more dangerous. Zhao Linyan stared at the two of them for several unbearable seconds before finally understanding he had already lost. Not to Moron Yuan, to the simple fact that Lin Shun no longer looked afraid of him. Gods moved forward soon after. The audience was over. But as Zhao Lingyun was escorted from the hall, he turned once more toward Lin Shun, fury and disbelief twisting across his face. And for the first time in years, Lin Shun felt absolutely nothing while looking back at him. Only freedom. Then Moron Yuan's hand found the small of his back, gently grounding him in place. And the warmth of that touch nearly undid him more than the confrontation itself ever had. After Zhao Lingyun was removed from the palace, the atmosphere inside the royal court changed completely. For the first time in years, the halls no longer felt weighed down by death. Moron Yuan's recovery had already transformed the kingdom, but now something else had shifted too. The servants laughed more openly. The guards relaxed when standing outside the emperor's chamber instead of waiting for another violent episode. Even the palace itself seemed warmer somehow, less like a mausoleum holding its breath beside a dying ruler. And through all of it, Moron Yuan stayed close to Lin Shun. Not possessively, not in the suffocating way Zhao Lingyun once had. Moron Yuan never ordered Lin Shun to remain beside him, never demanded attention or affection, but his body betrayed him constantly. His gaze searched for Lin Shun whenever they entered crowded rooms. His pheromones quieted only when the Omega stayed near. At night, even after recovering, Moron Yuan still slept better with Lin Shun somewhere close enough to scent. It would have been easy for Lin Shun to stay. Immediately too easy. That was why he left. Only temporarily. Only for a few weeks, but he still left. Not because he doubted Moron Yuan. Not because he feared the future. But because for the first time in his entire life, Lin Shun wanted to make a choice without pressure from anyone else. No mate bond pulling at his instincts. No alpha demanding loyalty. No kingdom needing his mind to solve another crisis. He wanted to know who he was when no one required anything from him. So he returned briefly to the northern territories. His grandfather cried when he saw him, alive and healthy again. The old man held Lin Shun so tightly that neither of them spoke for several minutes. By then, word of Zhao Linyun's disgrace had already spread across nearby packs. The former alpha had lost his position completely after evidence of coercion and attempted royal manipulation reached the regional councils. Some people still whispered his name bitterly, but most no longer cared. Without Lin Shun beside him, Zhao Linyun had collapsed frighteningly fast. That realization haunted Lin Shun more than he expected. Not because he missed him, but because it confirmed something painful. Zhao Linyun had built his entire identity on Lin Shun's usefulness while never truly seeing the person underneath it. One evening, while helping his grandfather organize old books near the fireplace, the older man quietly asked, "Are you going back to him?" Lin Shun paused with a stack of papers in his hands. "You make it sound simple." His grandfather smiled faintly. Usually, when someone spends half the night staring out windows with that expression, it is simple. Lin Shun huffed softly, but his silence answered enough. The truth was, he missed Moron Yuan constantly. He missed the warmth of the emperor's scent wrapping around him during quiet nights in the palace library. He missed the rough exhaustion in Moron Yuan's voice every morning before tea. He missed the strange gentleness hidden beneath all that terrifying alpha power. Most dangerously of all, Lin Shun missed the way Moron Yuan looked at him. Not like an asset, not like a miracle, just like someone precious. And that terrified Lin Shun, because he had spent so long believing love only existed when tied to usefulness. Morong Yuan had broken that belief apart piece by piece without even realizing it. 3 weeks later, Lin Shin finally stopped pretending he was uncertain. The ride back to the capital felt completely different from his first journey there. The first time, he had traveled like an offering sent toward death, bitter, angry, trapped. Now the road felt lighter beneath him, not because the future was guaranteed to be easy, but because every mile forward belonged entirely to his own choice. By the time the palace gates appeared in the distance beneath the evening sun, Lin Shin's heart was beating hard enough to hurt. The guards recognized him instantly. One nearly smiled while opening the gates. "Welcome back." The words settled strangely warm inside his chest. And apparently, news of his arrival traveled faster than horses, because by the time Lin Shin crossed the palace courtyard, Morong Yuan was already there, standing at the top of the stone steps beneath fading golden light. Healthy, that sight still stunned Lin Shin sometimes. Morong Yuan no longer looked like a man decaying from the inside out. The swelling had vanished completely. The cracks along his skin were gone. Strength had returned to his posture, to his movements, to the steady confidence in his gaze. But the moment Morong Yuan saw him, all of that composure nearly broke apart anyway. For several seconds, neither of them moved. Then Morong Yuan descended the steps, far too quickly for an emperor who once struggled to stand at all. "You came back," he said quietly. Lin Shin swallowed against the sudden tightness in his throat. "I did." Morong Yuan stopped directly in front of him, close enough for their scents to immediately wrap together again, like something instinctive and familiar. Lin Shin felt the alpha's control slipping slightly beneath the surface, not dangerously, but emotionally. Relief, nervousness, hope, all from the terrifying Alpha Emperor who once ruled half the continent through fear alone. "I was trying very hard," Morong Yuan admitted softly, "not to send half the royal guard after you." Lin Shin laughed before he could stop himself. "That would have ruined the point of leaving." "I know." Morong Yuan's eyes searched his face carefully. "That did not make me enjoy it." For a moment, they simply stood there looking at each other while evening wind moved through the courtyard around them. Then Morong Yuan asked the question quietly. Was the distance enough? Lin Shin understood what he truly meant. Did Lin Shin come back because of obligation? Because of instinct? Because of gratitude? Or because he genuinely chose him? Lin Shin stepped closer, slowly, until almost no space remained between them. "When I first arrived here," he said softly, "I thought everyone only wanted me for what I could do." Morong Yuan's expression tightened slightly. "But then you looked at me like I mattered, even when I had nothing left to give." Lin Shin smiled faintly. "Do you know how terrifying that was?" Morong Yuan's hand lifted carefully toward his face, stopping halfway, as though still asking permission despite everything between them now. Lin Shin leaned into the touch before he could second-guess himself. The relief in Morong Yuan's eyes nearly shattered him. "You are the first person," Lin Shin whispered, "who ever made me feel wanted instead of needed." Morong Yuan closed his eyes briefly at that, forehead resting lightly against Lin Shin's. "You were wanted from the beginning," he said hoarsely. "I just did not know how to survive long enough to say it." Lin Shin felt emotion rise painfully inside his chest. Then he smiled softly and finally gave Morong Yuan the answer both of them had been waiting for since the moment he left. "I'm staying." The sound Morong Yuan made was quiet, almost broken with relief. Then he kissed Lin Shin again, not hesitant this time, still gentle, still careful, but deeper now, full of weeks of restraint and fear and longing finally allowed to breathe. Morong Yuan's hands settled against Lin Shin's waist like he still could not quite believe this was real, while Lin Shin's fingers slid into the emperor's hair, pulling him closer without hesitation. By the time they separated, the palace courtyard had become suspiciously crowded. Servants pretended not to stare. Guards suddenly found the sky fascinating, and near one of the columns, Moronzi stood openly grinning with his arms crossed. "About time," he muttered. Moron Yuan ignored him completely. Later that night, after the palace quieted and the doors to Moron Yuan's private chambers finally closed behind them, Lin Xin stood beside the bed, watching the emperor approach him slowly. The room no longer smelled like sickness. Only cedarwood warmth and the calm scent that always belonged uniquely to Moron Yuan beneath the pain. "I need you to understand something before this happens," Moron Yuan said quietly. Lin Xin looked up. Moron Yuan's expression had become serious again, though emotions still lingered openly in his eyes. "If I mark you tonight, it will not be instinct. Not obligation. Not because fate decided it." His hand lifted carefully toward the unfinished imprint near Lin Xin's neck. "It will be because I love you." The words hit harder than any confession before them. Because Jia Lingyun once treated claiming like ownership, Moron Yuan treated it like trust. Lin Xin slowly pulled his collar aside himself, exposing the faint mark left behind weeks ago. And then, with complete certainty for the first time in his life, he answered softly, "I know." Moron Yuan kissed him once, then drew him carefully into his arms, pheromones wrapping around Lin Xin warm and steady and safe. No cages, no bargains, no fear. Only choice. And for the first time since entering that palace, Lin Xin finally understood what home was supposed to feel like. Months later, Lin Xin stood beside Moron Yuan in the palace garden as spring sunlight touched the new leaves overhead. The remnants of the curse had faded completely. Moron Yuan's skin was whole, his strength returned, his laughter, rare but real, no longer sounded like a man remembering how to breathe. Behind them, Morongze played chess with Lin Xin's grandfather, who had been brought to the capital to live in comfort. The old man's health had improved under the palace physician's care, and he had taken to teasing Morongze about his terrible strategy with undisguised delight. "You're staring," Moron Yuan said quietly. Lin Xin looked at him. "I'm admiring." "Same thing." "No. Staring is passive. Admiring is active. There's intention behind it." Moron Yuan's smile was soft, private, meant only for Lin Xin. "You're impossible. And yet you love me. And yet I love you." Lin Xin leaned into him as the wind carried the scent of blooming flowers across the garden. He thought about Jia Lingyun, about the man who had once owned him like a weapon, who had never asked what Lin Xin wanted, who had believed love and possession were the same. He felt nothing now. Not anger, not grief. Only distance. Only the quiet certainty that he had escaped something that was never meant to hold him. And he thought about Moron Yuan, about the emperor who had asked permission before every touch, who had given Lin Xin space to choose, who had knelt before the entire court and begged him to stay not because he needed Lin Xin's mind, but because he cherished Lin Xin himself. "What are you thinking?" Moron Yuan asked. Lin Xin smiled. "That I finally know what it feels like to be home." Moron Yuan's arm tightened around his waist. "Good. Because you're not leaving." "I'm not planning to." Behind them, Morongze lost another chess piece. Lin Xin's grandfather laughed. The sun climbed higher, and the shadows of the past finally faded into something that no longer hurt. Lin Xin had been sacrificed to a rotting emperor. But the rotting emperor had never been a monster, and somewhere between the decay and the healing, Lin Xin had found something he never expected. He had found love. And this time, it was not a cage. It was a choice. Freely given. Forever kept. 1 year after Lin Xin cured the emperor, the palace had transformed beyond recognition. The heavy curtains that once blocked sunlight from Moron Yuan's chambers had been replaced with sheer silk that let golden light pour through every morning. The smell of sickness and decay had been replaced by the crisp scent of cedarwood, the warmth of Lin Xin's quiet pheromones, and the faint aroma of tea brewing in the small sitting room Moron Yuan had added to their private quarters. Lin Xin stood at the window, watching the sunrise paint the palace gardens in shades of rose and gold. Behind him, the bed was empty. Murong Yuan had risen earlier, as he often did now, unable to resist testing his recovered strength. The emperor had become restless in the best possible way, filling his days with council meetings, military reviews, and long walks through the capital. But he always returned, and he always found Lin Xin first. "You're awake." Murong Yuan's voice came from the doorway. Lin Xin didn't turn. "You left before dawn." There was a report from the eastern provinces. "Nothing urgent." Murong Yuan crossed the room and settled behind him, arms wrapping around Lin Chen's waist. His chin rested on Lin Chen's shoulder. "I wanted to watch the sunrise with you. You could have woken me. You needed sleep." Murong Yuan pressed a kiss to his temple. "You were reading until past midnight again." Lin Chen smiled. "I was researching." "You're always researching." Murong Yuan's voice was warm, teasing. "The empire is healthy. The curse is gone. You can rest now." "Old habits." "I know." Murong Yuan's arms tightened slightly. "I'm not complaining. Your old habits saved my life." They stood in comfortable silence as the sun climbed higher, painting the garden in light. Somewhere below, they could hear Morongze arguing with the gardener about the placement of new peach trees. Lin Xin's grandfather was probably still in bed, grumbling about the palace being too warm and the servants being too attentive. "Your grandfather challenged me to another chess match yesterday," Murong Yuan said. "Did he win?" "He always wins. He's been playing for 70 years. I've been playing for less." Lin Xin laughed. "He likes you. He likes that I let him win. He likes that you make me happy." Murong Yuan was quiet for a moment. Then he turned Lin Xin gently to face him, his dark eyes soft in the morning light. "Are you happy, Lin Xin?" Lin Xin looked at him, at the man he had been sent to watch die, the man who had asked permission before every touch, the man who had knelt before the court and begged him to stay, at the emperor who had never once tried to own him. "Yes," Lin Xin said. "Happier than I ever thought I could be." Murong Yuan kissed him then, slow and tender, full of promise. When they pulled apart, his forehead rested against Lin Chan's. "Good," he murmured. "Because I'm not letting you go. I'm not asking you to." Later that morning, Lin Xin found his grandfather in the small garden behind their quarters. The old man sat on a stone bench, a shawl wrapped around his shoulders despite the warmth, watching the koi fish circle in the pond. "You're up early," Lin Xin said, sitting beside him. "I'm old. I don't sleep." His grandfather glanced at him, eyes sharp despite his age. "You look happy." "I am." "Good." The old man nodded slowly. "Your mother would have been proud. Your father too." Lin Chin's throat tightened. "You think so?" "I know so." His grandfather reached over and patted his hand. "You saved a kingdom. You found love. You stopped letting others decide your worth." He smiled, wrinkles deepening around his eyes. "That's more than most people ever achieve." Lin Xin leaned against his shoulder, the way he had as a child. "Thank you for raising me. Thank you for turning out well." His grandfather chuckled. "Now go. Your emperor is hovering by the doorway, pretending he's not waiting for you." Lin Xin looked back. Murong Yuan stood at the garden entrance, trying to look casual, failing completely. Lin Xin shook his head, smiling. "I'll see you at dinner," he told his grandfather. "You'd better. And tell your emperor to bring that wine I like. The one from the western provinces." Lin Xian crossed the garden to where Murong Yuan waited. The emperor's hand found his immediately, fingers interlacing. "Your grandfather wants wine?" Lin Xian said. "I'll have a case sent to his rooms." "He likes you. He likes the wine." "Same thing." Murong Yuan laughed, a real laugh, warm and unguarded. "You're impossible. And yet you love me. And yet I love you." They walked through the garden together, past blooming peonies and stone lanterns, past servants who bowed and guards who smiled. The capital stretched beyond the palace walls, bustling and alive. The kingdom was healing. The people were hopeful. And Lin Shun, who had once been sacrificed to a rotting emperor, walked hand in hand with the man he had saved, and who had saved him in return. This was not the ending he had imagined when Zhao Lin Yun severed their bond. It was better. It was real. It was chosen. And it was only the beginning. 6 months after Lin Shun and Murong Yuan bonded, the kingdom celebrated the Festival of Renewal, a tradition that had been neglected for 2 decades, ever since the emperor's curse had first appeared. Now, with Murong Yuan restored to health and the northern territories stabilized, the festival was revived. Lin Shun stood on a raised platform in the capital's central square, overlooking a sea of colorful banners, laughing children, and merchants hawking their wares. The crowd was immense. Thousands of citizens who had traveled from distant provinces to witness their emperor healthy and strong. Murong Yuan stood beside him, dressed in robes of deep imperial gold, his presence no longer shadowed by pain. "You're nervous," Murong Yuan murmured, barely moving his lips. "I'm not nervous," Lin Shun replied, though his palms were damp. "You're gripping the railing hard enough to leave marks." Lin Shun forced his fingers to loosen. "There are so many people. They're not here to judge you." Murong Yuan's hand found his beneath the wide sleeve of his robe. "They're here to celebrate. And to thank you." Lin Shun glanced at him. "Thank me. You know what they call you in the villages now." Murong Yuan's voice was soft, almost teasing. "The healer Omega. The one who saved the emperor." Lin Shun flushed. "That's not. I just read some books." "You read some books when no one else could." Murong Yuan squeezed his hand. "Accept it." Before Lin Shun could argue, the crowd's cheers swelled. A procession of dancers moved through the square, their costumes bright as flames, their movements telling the story of the curse and the cure. Lin Shun watched, transfixed, as the story unfolded. The emperor's illness, the desperation of the royal family, the arrival of a stranger with a scholar's mind and a healer's touch. He recognized himself in the performance, rendered as a figure in flowing silver robes, surrounded by floating books. It was strange to see his own story told by others, mythologized before he had fully understood it himself. "They made me look taller," he muttered. Murong Yuan's quiet laugh was warm against his ear. "You're perfect as you are." The ceremony continued for hours. Speeches were given. Offerings were made. Lin Shun's grandfather, seated in a place of honor near the platform, dozed off twice and woke himself with snorts that made the nearby nobles exchanged amused glances. Murongze handled most of the official announcements, leaving Murong Yuan and Lin Shun to watch and occasionally wave. Near the end of the day, a representative from the northern territories approached the platform. He was an older beta, gray-haired and solemn, carrying a scroll wrapped in silk. "Your Majesty," the man said, bowing low, "the northern packs have prepared a gift for the healer Omega, Ling Shun." Murong Yuan inclined his head. Ling Shun stepped forward, uncertain. The man unrolled the scroll and read aloud. "For the one who saved our emperor and restored hope to the kingdom. For the Omega who proved that a mind is mightier than any curse. The northern packs offer their eternal gratitude and a formal apology for the actions of Yao Linyan, who has been permanently exiled from all pack territories." Murongze stepped forward. "The exile is ratified by the royal court. Zhao Linyan's name shall be removed from all records. His lands and titles are forfeit." A murmur rippled through the crowd, not of shock, but of satisfaction. Lin Shun felt a strange lightness in his chest. Exile. The man who had once owned him like a weapon, who had threatened his grandfather and sold him to a dying king, now had nothing. No pack, no lands, no power. And Lin Shun felt nothing but peace. He turned to Murong Yuan. The emperor's eyes were on him, waiting. "I'm glad," Lin Shun said quietly, "that it's over." "It's not over," Murong Yuan replied. "It's just beginning." That evening, after the crowds dispersed and the lanterns were lit across the capital, Lin Shen and Morong Yuan walked through the palace gardens alone. Fireflies drifted between the blossoms, and the air smelled of jasmine and distant rain. "You've been quiet," Morong Yuan said. "I've been thinking about." Lin Shen stopped beside the koi pond, watching the moonlight ripple across the water. "About what happens now? The kingdom is stable. The curse is gone. You're healthy. I've done what I was sent here to do." Morong Yuan's expression shifted, something vulnerable flickering behind his eyes. "Are you saying you want to leave?" "No," Lin Shen turned to face him. "I'm saying I want to stay because I choose to. Not because I'm useful. Not because you need me. Because I want to be here." Morong Yuan stepped closer, his hand rising to cup Lin Shen's face. "You have always been more than useful, Lin Shen. You are the reason I wake up in the morning. The reason I want to live." Lin Shen leaned into his touch. "Then keep me. I intend to." They stood there as the fireflies danced and the moon rose higher. Two broken people who had found healing in each other. The past was behind them. The betrayal, the curse, the long years of pain. The future stretched ahead, uncertain but bright. Lin Shen had been sacrificed to a rotting emperor. But the emperor had never been a monster. And somewhere between the decay and the healing, Lin Shen had found something he never expected. He had found a home.